One of Emperor Trajan's most ambitious and controversial achievements was his decisive campaign against the Dacians, a formidable civilization that had long resisted Roman rule. For over 2 decades, the Dacian kingdom, situated in the rugged Carpathian mountains of modern-day Romania, posed a constant threat to the stability of the Roman Empire. Frequent raids along the empire's northeastern frontier tested Rome's authority, forcing a response from the empire's military leadership. By the year 101 AD, Emperor Trajan, then 47 years old and known for his military prowess, decided to launch a full-scale invasion into Dacia. His goal was not only to neutralize the persistent threat, but to expand Roman influence into the rich and strategically significant lands of the Dacians. What followed was a brutal and systematic campaign that led to the destruction of the Dacian capital, Sarmizegetusa. The city was overrun by Roman forces, and the once proud Dacian king, Decebalus, found himself relentlessly pursued. Facing imminent capture, he ultimately chose to take his own life rather than be paraded through Rome as a defeated enemy. This victory cemented Trajan's reputation as one of Rome's greatest warrior emperors, and to commemorate his conquest, he commissioned the construction of Trajan's Column, a monumental 100-foot structure adorned with a spiraling relief depicting the Roman triumph over the Dacians. Situated just north of the Forum, the column remains a remarkable piece of imperial propaganda, glorifying Trajan's success while portraying the Dacians as a vanquished people. While Trajan's Dacian wars were widely celebrated, a lesser-known yet significant battle had taken place years earlier during the reign of Emperor Domitian. This earlier conflict, known as the Battle of Tapae, occurred in 87 AD and ended in a disastrous Roman defeat, one so humiliating that it was largely omitted from official Roman histories. The Dacian king Decebalus had already established himself as a cunning and resourceful leader. In 87 AD, he led his warriors across the Danube River and launched a bold invasion into the Roman province of Moesia. The attack resulted in chaos and destruction, culminating in the death of the Roman governor, Oppius Sabinus. Enraged by this assault on imperial territory, Emperor Domitian personally led a counteroffensive, driving the Dacians back across the border. Satisfied that the immediate threat had been contained, Domitian returned to Rome and entrusted the command of the campaign to one of his most trusted generals, Cornelius Fuscus. Fuscus, a high-ranking officer with a noble background, was tasked with invading Dacia and securing a decisive victory over Decebalus. By most accounts, he was a competent and loyal commander, having previously served under the Flavian dynasty. However, what transpired at Tapae would prove to be a devastating miscalculation. Determined to strike at the heart of Dacia, Cornelius Fuscus led an army of approximately 30,000 Roman soldiers, composed of 5 to 6 legions. As his forces crossed into enemy territory, he remained unaware that Decebalus and his warriors lay in wait. The chosen battlefield, Tapae, believed to be the treacherous Iron Gates Gorge, provided the perfect setting for an ambush. This natural corridor, flanked by steep cliffs and dense forests, formed a deadly bottleneck that would soon become a trap for the Roman legions. Perhaps Fuscus was overconfident in the might of the Roman army. Perhaps he underestimated the cunning of Decebalus, or maybe he was simply unaware of the strategic danger posed by the terrain. Whatever the case, he led his troops into the gorge, where the Dacians, hidden among the cliffs and forests, waited with lethal patience. As the Roman legions marched deeper into the pass, the attack began. A sudden, deafening battle cry shattered the stillness of the gorge. From the rocky slopes above, waves of Dacian warriors descended upon the unsuspecting Romans, striking with savage precision. Arrows rained down, and javelins found their marks as the Roman soldiers scrambled to respond to the onslaught. The once disciplined formations of the legions collapsed into disorder, their ranks shattered by the sheer force and ferocity of the Dacian attack. The air was thick with the sounds of war, the clash of swords, the cries of the wounded, and the desperate shouts of commanders attempting to restore order. The Dacians fought like men possessed, determined to protect their homeland at any cost. From hidden vantage points, they launched surprise assaults, cutting down legionaries with brutal efficiency. the midst of the chaos, Cornelius Fuscus himself was struck down. The Roman standard, the aquila, a sacred symbol of Roman military honor, was captured by the Dacians, an unthinkable disgrace for the empire. The loss was catastrophic, comparable to the infamous massacre of the Roman legions in the Teutoburg forest nearly a century earlier. The surviving Romans, realizing the battle was lost, scattered in disarray. The defeat at Tapae was one of the most significant losses Rome had suffered in the 1st century AD. However, the Roman Empire, unwilling to acknowledge such a humiliating setback, largely erased the battle from official records. Unlike Trajan's later triumphs, which were immortalized on stone and marble, the disaster at Tapae remained an overlooked chapter in Rome's history. Yet, for the Dacians, this victory was a moment of glory. Decebalus, the mastermind behind the ambush, became a legend in his own time and remains a national hero in modern Romania. His success at Tapae demonstrated that even the mighty Roman war machine was not invincible. Eventually, Rome would have its revenge. Emperor Trajan, learning from past failures, launched a far more calculated and overwhelming campaign against the Dacians decades later. Unlike Cornelius Fuscus, Trajan came prepared. He fortified his supply lines, studied Dacian tactics, and launched a multi-front assault that ultimately crushed Dacian resistance. The final confrontation led to the destruction of Sarmizegetusa, the death of Decebalus, and the annexation of Dacia as a Roman province. Today, the site of the Iron Gates is a picturesque national park, its peaceful landscape belying the bloodshed that once stained its soil. Meanwhile, the ruins of Sarmizegetusa stand as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a reminder of a lost kingdom that once defied the might of Rome. Though the Roman Empire ultimately triumphed, the Battle of Tapae remains one of history's greatest ambushes, a testament to the courage and resilience of the Dacians, and a sobering reminder that even the most powerful empires can suffer crushing defeats.